Good evening, gentlemen. Is my audio working? I think it is. In fact, it may be overdriven. So, a little video, mostly to test this new frame-grabbing device. Hopefully now I won't have to edit 10-minute videos together into one video anymore. But remember the last time we did a radio video, we had that R-599. Well, the gremlins snuck in and turned it into a pile of parts, which was really all we could do. There have been so many mods to the thing that it was yeah. So what I decided to do was to just take it into its component parts, get another parts radio, and then that means I'll have 3 R-599 receivers now, counting this. And with these parts and the other 2 parts receivers, hopefully we can make 2 that work right. And one of them will go back onto eBay. Anyway, now that we've got the thing apart, though, we can take a closer look at some of this stuff. There was this extra power transformer in there. This is a... no, wait a minute, that's the main transformer. There was this other transformer in there, this 12.6 volt transformer, running this LM309 5 volt regulator with this big and rather shitty looking, if you can see. Oh look, I've got a cable hanging down here. That's something that'll have to be changed with this new video recording setup. Now, with this rather shitty filter capacitor here, although, no, that's not flux, that's capacitor shit leaking out. Lovely. Powering this board, doing something, I don't know what, but all of these, this was added to the radio. This board was down underneath, hooked up to the I'm drawing a blank on the name of the board, but this is some kind of custom thing, and it looks like a mess, but this was the way things were done in the 50s. This is actually quite well engineered stuff, which is interesting compared to some of the garbage that we were seeing. This board was added. This is an RF splitter off of some kind of HP splitter module. This module itself doesn't appear to be available outside of the particular HP splitter module, so somebody gutted some kind of RF splitter for parts and then built parts of it onto this board. And there's a dual 4-input NAND gate down here, a CMOS one. I don't know what that's doing, and an IF can, and some transistors, and some great big inductors. And I don't know, man. What other custom stuff do we have? This is a factory board, which looks unmodified, and I had all of this written down. I was going to say what each board was, but in the service manual for the 599, all of these factory boards are very, very well documented. So I have no doubt that given the time and inclination, I can return all of these factory boards to factory status, and then put the radio back together in factory condition without all this additional stuff. This is the antenna relay that cuts the receiver off when it's in transceive mode. This is another factory board. It, as far as I know, hasn't been modified. Now this is one of the factory boards that has been modified, and this is kind of a mess. All of this shit was added. There's a crystal here, and I think that's a great big mica capacitor, and I think that's some kind of an inductor, and there's a diode and a resistor and a couple more. I think those are also mica capacitors there. I'm not sure. All of this was across the input, and the actual input was being fed in through this resistor up here. I don't know, it's some kind of, I don't know what the crystal is for. That's the weirdest part. I'd say it was some kind of filter, but I don't know why that crystal can's on there. It's some kind of I don't know what the deal with that is, but this board has been modified significantly. Here's a variable resistor that's been added up here somewhere, and some fly wires and stuff. So this board will have to be returned to stock condition. There's a germanium transistor that's been added on here, doing something, and a couple of diodes down there. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with that. There's the audio output board. It's supposed to have two screw terminals on it, but somebody just I assume that this stuff is just for impedance matching on the back, so nothing terribly unusual there. Now there's that LF-HF switch that was mounted in the top of the thing. I've got a bunch of other shit in this bag. One thing that I think is interesting is there was a switch in the back, to switch between AC and DC, and that switch had been repurposed into something else that switched the discriminator board between two different modes somehow. I don't understand what was going on there. Here's another custom board. I don't know what the purpose of that was. The speaker wasn't factory, that had been added by the guy, but despite the giant mess that this thing was, what we did especially get out of it is this, and this is the factory 2-meter transverter board for the R-599, and these are they're not as rare as the 6-meter transverter boards, but they are kind of hard to find. So even if that radio is good for nothing but parts, being able to get this board out of it, which does appear to work, was a win. And if all else fails, I'm sure that I can eventually, if I get the boards fixed, whichever ones I don't need to use, I'm sure that they can eventually, and the controls and the knobs and stuff especially, I'm sure can be sold on eBay at some point. Got this nice big heavy aluminum tuning knob, nice weighted knob to spin back and forth through the band. That's kind of nice. We'll need this for something else here in a little bit too. So let me show you the new parts radio, and we'll take a look inside of it. Sight unseen. I haven't even taken the bubble wrap off of it yet, so we'll have a we won't have a cheesy, shitty unboxing video because those are lame. Let me just unpack it on the bench here and we'll take a look. I'll be right back. See if I can pause this video and then I won't have to edit later. Alright, are we unpaused? We may have been recording that whole time. I guess maybe I'll have to edit this after all. So yeah, this is the new parts radio. As you can see, it is pretty filthy, and it's got some rust on it. It's got some damage. This faceplate down here is bent. It wasn't the cheapest. Well, actually, I made an offer and it actually did end up being the cheapest parts radio I could get, but the listed price wasn't the cheapest, and it wasn't the best condition of the parts radios that were available, but it has something special going on with it, which we will see after a while, which is the main reason that I chose this one as my parts radio. And you have seen the front of this plenty of times in those other videos, so I'm not going to take the trouble to move my camera around here, but I haven't tested this thing yet. No idea if it works. But let me show you why this thing is the parts radio that I chose. Alright, as you may know, 144 megahertz is the 2-meter frequency. So this one is missing the 2-meter transverter, but we got that one out of the other radio, but it does have the 6-meter transverter in it. I don't know if it works, but the interesting thing is the 599JR and the 599D, which was the American version, the JR was the Japanese version, the transverter boards connect differently. So you can see down here in the American one, it has this this fixed crystal board with these two tube sockets in it. And these aren't actually for tubes, they just use them as connectors, and the transverter boards hook up to those tube sockets using these plugs that are like the bottom of a vacuum tube. And those plugs are basically, this particular 7-pin plug is basically impossible to find now. So I think what I'm going to end up having to do, both of these boards will probably go in the other radio. And then I'll use parts out of the R-599 back here to fix it and this one. The other one works, but it's not sensitive enough. There's something wrong with it somewhere. It might just need aligned, but once we get into that and install the transverters and all that shit, then we'll know for sure. But so yeah, that's the skinny with that. Fucking relay was just about to fall out of there. That was weird. But anyway, yeah, so that's pretty exciting. So this one's been modified to use RCA jacks instead of the screw terminals that were factory, and I had this little thing to plug the actual S599 speaker right here into these things, but it's got a phono jack on it, so I'm gonna have to rig up something different to get a speaker on this thing. And considering how shitty and rusty and rough this thing is, I think maybe I ought to bring it up on the Variac just in case. That's probably overkill, but I don't want to blow up my parts, you know what I'm saying? So let me pause this again and find a speaker that'll work with this, and I'll be right back. All right, I've got you a bird's eye view for the Magic Smoke here. We've got an 8-ohm speaker plugged into it. It's got two RCA jacks in the back, and I don't know which one's the right one, so I guess we'll see what happens there. Let's try to bring it up, see if any magic smoke comes out. Probably should have put an ammeter on here. Okay, nothing. Let's check the fuse. I'll be right back. Okay, I pulled the fuse out and I was checking it, and then noticed that the AC-DC switch was in the DC position. So that may have something to do with not getting any output or any power to the thing. So let's put the fuse back in here and try this again. So maybe the super cheap parts radio that supposedly didn't power up is fine. Wouldn't that be something? Alright, back to the bird's eye view for the Magic Smoke. Let's try it. We're trying it, boys. We're trying it. We're trying it. Is it gonna blow up? I can see the dial lights coming up. Oh buddy, let's turn the squelch down and the audio gain up, the RF gain up. I'm not hearing anything on the speaker, but I may have the speaker plugged in to the wrong port. Okay, the front panel lights are up. Let me try plugging the speaker into the other RCA jack. If I can get the son of a bitch out of there. See if I can break some of my stuff there. Nothing. I can't see what's happening under that. Thing's underneath the radio. Nothing. It could be that the speaker doesn't work too. Let me check the speaker a bit. Be right back. Yep, the speaker was fucked up. I guess the voice coil burned out of the son of a bitch. That's a shame. That's a nice old speaker. Man, sucks. Anyway, I got the speaker from the R-599 there, and the son of a bitch is working, boys. A lot of the controls are pretty dirty and need cleaned, but if I wiggle them, it comes back. That ought to just be some contact cleaner action there. Yeah, boy. Now the whole thing's upside down. Where's the gain control? There it is. All right. The tuning gear is slipping a little bit. I'll have to fix that. Or maybe, I think the knob's just slipping on the shaft. We're on 80 meters. There's a dead spot in the VFO. It looks like it fixed itself. I can't seem to... There he is. Oh, come on, you can come back now.
Well, here in the near future, I'll probably have a radio to put on there, but,
These,
just want to put the water on there.
These situations where we can only hear one side of the conversation, that's because, all of these signals are from... Oh, shit, my scope probe fell out. All of these signals are from far away, and, they skip, or rather are refracted by the ionosphere. And they come from somewhere halfway across the country. They go up in the air, they go into the upper atmosphere, and then they get refracted back down to Earth. And so the places that you can hear these signals, the signals don't spread themselves evenly across the Earth. There are bands where... I shouldn't say bands, that'll be confusing. They're geographical locales where a signal will bounce back to Earth, and you can hear it, and then it'll go back up and get refracted by the ionosphere again and skip again. And but there are dead zones in between there. And so in these situations where we're hearing half of a conversation, it's because the other half of the conversation, we're in its dead zone, so we can't pick it up. If I had a better antenna, we might be able to kind of get it really quietly on like super duper like long path skip or something, but I don't know. Let's see what else we can get here. Well, this is pretty exciting. Sub $100 parts radio ends up pretty much working, aside from the common problems that you'd have with a 50-year-old radio. Anyway, that's all for now. I guess now we'll see if my video encoder rater thing is working like it's supposed to. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Bye.